Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming back after lunch. It's fantastic to be here. Let's be honest, it's still fantastic to be anywhere, isn't it? I'm from the school of thought where I'm excited when I manage to find my shoes in the morning, because we haven't done that for so long, have we? So, my name's Darren Sharpe. I'm a marketplace specialist currently working for AWS. We'll be joined by my colleague Ben, who is Softcat's marketplace specialist in just a moment. So yeah, fantastic to be here today. Thanks for coming back after lunch and hearing about marketplaces and digital revenue transformation. I will make an apology in advance. I spent 5 days at Glastonbury Festival recently. I'm not saying that to show off. I've still got one glittery fingernail. I'm saying that because if I just pause and start talking about cider, there's a reason for that. Yeah, so just give me a little bit of leeway if that's all right. So before we get on to, hopefully, a discussion about how important marketplaces are, what I'd like to do is just invite a bit of audience participation. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask anybody to stand up. Just a quick show of hands for 3 questions, if I can, please. Who is at least familiar with digital marketplaces in the workplace? A show of hands, if you would. Who's heard of marketplaces today? Yeah? Okay, great. Who knows within their business whether you are at least using those marketplaces today to go and buy, whether you're doing it yourself, or whether your procurement function or your cloud function is using those marketplaces? Another quick show of hands. Slightly less. Okay, but that's good. Thank you. So I'll ask one more question, which I'm not expecting a huge response to, but who in their organization is just using digital marketplaces to procure today software? There we go, silence in the room. So the reason why I ask that is hopefully I'm going to come back in a year's time and we're going to get some different responses to those questions. And the reason why is this. So to be honest, what I'd normally do is I'd hold up my Blockbuster card here because I'm old enough to have a Blockbuster card. I'm looking around the room, hopefully thinking there's a few that are on side with me that did have a Blockbuster video card. Can I get some nods maybe of a certain age, if I'm allowed to say that? Thank you very much, this man down here, who also had a Blockbuster card. So look, the reason why I'm raising this is what I'm trying to get over today is the importance of a digital buying experience within our roles as people on a cloud journey. And now the reason why I cite Blockbuster is because think about how personal this is. I could use the Amazon.com analogy, but I think the Blockbuster analogy is really important. Because actually, for the youngsters in the room who maybe don't remember videotape, it's the thing that blows around in the central reservation when we're on the motorway. Blockbuster was the largest video rental organization in the world. If we look back in around about the year 2000, it was worth $5 billion. And Netflix, which we all know and love today, was a mail order DVD organization. They used to post your DVDs. Now, actually, in the year 2000, Blockbuster was offered to buy Netflix and they declined. They said, no, we don't believe in your business model. A year went on, Blockbuster goes up by another $1 billion. Netflix is still worth a few $100 million. But then the CEO of Netflix recognized that there was a simplification that needed to happen for us as customers. And he released a streaming platform. So in 2007, that Netflix streaming platform was launched. Now, you can then do the maths and see where the point of intersection is. Around about 2011, both those companies were worth $3 billion. And a year later, that little card that I used to have with a barcode on the back didn't work anymore. Now, Netflix today is worth 25 billion, something like that. The point I'm trying to make is simplification is everywhere in our lives, and this digital buying journey is becoming ever prevalent in the workplace as well. So I'm asking you to open your minds to what this digital buying journey is going to mean for you when you're in your everyday roles today. And hopefully we're going to discuss a bit more about that in a moment. So, what is this about? Why is it about partner? And we're going to talk about procurement transformation. Super complicated slide. I'm pleased to say that I didn't make it up. Point we're trying to make here is what these marketplaces are doing is they're driving out complexity from this buying process. And we know that in all our organizations, buying modalities are changing. We might have recognized it as shadow IT, but actually now it's the builders that are going and building. And we're going to have a mix of personas in our organization. So we're going to have builders and buyers, and we're going to be dealing with sellers. But actually, everybody is going to need help with this buying journey. And if you look at some of the procurement press, they're going to say that a typical customer, when looking to buy something, is probably going to have 14 points of information gathering before they speak to a salesperson. And increasingly, that's going to be a digital marketplace. So the point is, you can come and speak to Softcat as a customer and get help to simplify this procurement journey with a digital marketplace, and AWS Marketplace being the market leader today on that journey. And we'll talk a bit more about what that means in a moment. So we can broadly put what a digital marketplace can do for you in these 4 buckets. Innovation and transformation, migration and modernization, control and governance, and then optimization. So let's look at what that really means. So innovation and transformation is such a buzzword, isn't it? Or buzzwords, effectively. What does that mean for our business when we've got very traditional businesses? We are looking to do more with less. We're looking to do some cloud migration because that's going to help us innovate and transform. But actually, this innovation is happening real world in traditional organizations where we don't necessarily realize it might be there. Is anybody familiar? Hopefully somebody's familiar. I'm looking around the room for ages again. It's terrible, isn't it? Who's familiar with John Deere, the big green tractor? Brian from the country over there. Familiar with John Deere? Some nods, some raises of hands. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. It's the biggest agricultural manufacturing company in the world. It's 185 years old. Chances are what you eat today, the cereal that built that was within that was farmed by a John Deere tractor. It's huge. Big global organization. Did you know that John Deere has more software engineers today than they do mechanical engineers? That's insane, isn't it? A friend of mine last week, another analogy, just because I like this, and I'm trying to hammer it home as to how important this is as to where innovation in software is, where we may not expect it. A friend of mine bought a Harley Davidson. I can say that, I think, can't I? I won't get shot. So he had this Harley for a week. He's a real petrol head, doesn't really understand technology necessarily. And he said after a week, it doesn't sound like a Harley. This sounds wrong. So he took it back into the garage, and the garage said, oh yeah, needs a firmware upgrade. It's a Harley Davidson. That's crazy, isn't it? The point I'm trying to make here is innovation and transformation in the everyday products that we have might not be cloud first, but it's software first. So migration and modernization, you within your organizations have probably got 30 to 50 enterprise critical software vendors. Are you looking at the maturity of those vendors in the cloud? We know within AWS through conversation with our customers that typically, you're going to be looking at, say if you're a Cisco premise firewall vendor today, you're probably going to be looking at 2 to 3 other security vendors to see what their cloud posture is. And you would have heard Dean talk about this morning when he's talking about FinOps and transformation. Actually, those ISVs, independent software vendors that you work with, are also on this journey. They're also on this journey of digital revenue transformation. And there's lots of reasons for that we're going to come on to in a minute. But this migration and modernization piece, we're all looking at it, but again, it's going to be a software first piece. So you can use your partner community to come and help them or help you understand what the position of those software vendors are. Optimization at scale. These numbers are crazy, aren't they? We kind of sometimes do a reveal on these numbers and I ask some questions in the crowd, but 600 is the average number of SaaS applications that a company maintains. Isn't that crazy? The point I'm trying to make here is those software vendors are also trying to optimize their businesses, and SaaS is the prevalent mechanism. And actually what the software companies are understanding now is they don't want to build software to sell software. You are going to find, when you're looking at search and selection and finding a modernized application portfolio, you're often going to use a digital marketplace to find those vendors that are only within that marketplace. That's the buying motion. I'm going to talk about how Softcat can help with the selling motion in a second. But this is the interesting piece. Going back to that shadow IT piece, that buying modalities are changing piece. 70% of the applications are bought in line of business. Why is that important to a digital marketplace? Well, there's some tools within things like AWS Marketplace, we call them private marketplace, that will allow you to put some governance and guardrails around who deploys what. It's a simple procurement workflow. Why is that important? Well, The procurement persona here absolutely needs to put some controls and risk management around who's doing what, where, and when. And us as IT functions are also going to want some flexibility, but yet some guardrails around who can do what. We want to be managed, but we want to do this in a flexible and scalable way. So that's why it's really important when we're talking about optimization that we've got some guardrails in this world. And control and governance, we've just talked about a little bit of that from the private marketplace perspective, but look at the tools with which you're building your cloud world and how we bring that into a software world that you have today and how we modernize that estate. And actually, we want to remove risk from this world. We want to make sure that we are becoming growth-centered and innovating for this new cloud world, but actually working with the right partners along the way. Make sense? Some nods around the room, hopefully. Good. Great. So reasons why you should be looking at cloud marketplaces. It often starts here. Leverage a cloud committed spend. Regardless of what cloud provider you're working with, they've all got spend commitments through which you can retire through buying software through a digital marketplace solution. So that's really powerful because it's going to get you to your better spend commitment or a better discount for your cloud native consumption through consuming software through the digital marketplace. Actually, all the rest of this is a real partner play. And interestingly, we often start these conversations with, well, digital marketplace is going to replace the partner world. Absolutely not. I'm really pleased to say the analysts now recognize this, that talking to a Softcat about how they can help with this modernization world, Jay McBain at Canalys, one of the key industry analysts, has said 90% of purchases are going to be at least influenced by partners. Canalys and Forrester have also said that at least 30% is going to be entirely managed by a partner. And that's because we don't want to talk about selling, but all this value around cost optimization, around trusted advisor status, pro-serve delivery, best-in-class vendor management, that's still the partner piece. But they're going to use a digital marketplace as that mechanism of transformation. They're going to encourage you to do that because you're going to get lots of value out of that. And that's with standardized contracting terms, that's with procurement simplification, and all these process improvements that they can help you with are using the marketplace as this underlying platform. Let's look at some of these values. Is anyone in here from legal? Is anyone actually going to put their hand up to that? I don't know. Okay, we're going to assume that there's nobody in here from legal. Okay, is that all right? We're in this trust exercise, I hope. So the point is here, how painful is it dealing with our legal organisations to get terms worked through sometimes? I'm hoping everyone's been honest here and there is nobody from legal, nobody's going to throw anything. But the point is, within the digital marketplace platforms, you've got a set of standard license terms. Now, that's going to mean that you as organisations can redline those terms once with the help of Softcat, and then you're going to be pre-authorised to come and buy those software vendors because the EULA has already been agreed. That removes, as our VP used to say, the dentistry of this buying process. That might be 3 to 4 weeks, might be longer in some of our organisations. Is that a benefit? Do we see that as a benefit? Yeah? Great. Private offers. It's a common, this is an industry term now at least. We know that when you go in and buy in a digital marketplace, you're not getting any price precedent. For logging on, you might get some benefit of buying more or committing to a longer term, but they're not recognizing who you are. They're not recognizing your organization. What Softcat can do, and the partners that are doing this digital revenue transformation piece through digital marketplaces, is they're able to deliver private offers. And a private offer is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a dedicated link that is custom term, custom price, and very often a custom EULA specific to your organization. That's leveraging the buying power of the partner that is looking at these transforming ISVs to give the best value for you, the organization. And recognizing the fact that this enterprise tool set is still going to be software that might not be built in the hyperscalers today. Best-in-class security, for example. Take, AWS, we don't have a layer 7 firewall. We rely on best-in-class security vendors to do that. We don't have a rule set for our WAF. We rely on the Fortinets and the Trimicros for that. Best-in-class vendors by category are still absolutely critical to our businesses, and our marketplace is going to be the center point for buying that. The productivity piece, most marketplaces came from builders going and building. It's a development cycle to begin with, first of all. I go back to that 18-year cycle of Blockbuster, and to talk about how important this might become to us. AWS Marketplace actually had its 10-year anniversary in April this year. That's insane, isn't it? You know, the point is this has been around for a long time. The evolution of these platforms have been around for a long time. And as we look at what's going to happen now, you know, the fact you can buy containers anywhere, containers for deployment anywhere, containerized solutions through AWS Marketplace, and some of the other organizations as well. You know, this is a really evolving world. You know, what the marketplace providers are now doing is they're actually putting things like risk management and security tools or security assessment within those platforms as well. As much as you've seen Netflix evolve in our personal lives, and those annoying emails that said, we know you've now finished watching this, now you can come and watch this maybe, you're going to start to see things like purchasing synergies, technology synergies, what's going to work well with what. Are you looking at a best-in-class email security solution that is maybe not context-based, or is it an AI-based solution that's going to act faster, is more relevant for the modern world? Again, software vendors are evolving, so it's key that you manage that world properly. And this private marketplace and procurement systems integration, this is where the likes of Softcat can really help you come and simplify those governance and guardrails. They can build out a specific catalog, very often for free. It's a function of the platform. You could do it yourselves. But the point is you can use Softcat's buying power to manage those vendors and populate a private marketplace within your own organizations. So you're actually putting those procurement guardrails around those solutions. That's really powerful tools in the platform. The point I'm trying to make is it's an evolving procurement methodology. So, you know, let's look at why companies sell. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, if you remember, I talked about builders, buyers, and sellers. What I want you to do is open your minds to what your key enterprise software vendors are doing and the journey that they're on. Because actually, very often they're going to be partner first, like Cisco, of course, because that's where the value is. But they're looking at digital revenue transformation because it's pulling cost out of their processes. The CEO of CrowdStrike stood on stage when he could stand on stage before COVID and said that he was seeing 40% greater pipeline through transacting through AWS Marketplace and the partner process, as opposed to a traditional route to market. That's a really powerful statement. All those value statements that we looked at for you as customers are even more relevant to your partners. And your partners, I mean your ISVs, the software vendors that are critical to you and your organization. So that's really important when you're assessing this modernized application portfolio. Look at what the best fit for that for you as a customer is, what that vendor portfolio is doing, and go and talk to your partners like Softcat to help you on that journey. So here's the general split and the lay of the land at the moment today. This has come from a tackle.io paper. If you don't know it, I'd encourage you to go and have a look. It's in the public domain. It's the Tackle State of Digital Marketplaces or State of Cloud Marketplaces. Tackle are a marketplace aggregator. And actually they are, this is who prefers to buy through what marketplace today. You can see that AWS Marketplace is the most evolved. It's got the most tools today. But all three big hyperscalers have got a pretty big digital marketplace presence. And I'd encourage you to go and talk to them about what that journey is and talk to Softcat about how they can help with that journey. For the savvy ones amongst you, you'll see that these numbers don't add up to 100%. And that says today that there's customer choice, doesn't it? As much as we have customer choice as to where we buy, there is customer choice today in what marketplaces we're using. Let's look at some of the industry analyst stuff before we're going to have a chat to Ben, and we're going to talk a bit more about what Softcat can do here. So Forrester, obviously, we know very well. You know, they are, when we're talking about SaaS specifically, and look at what all these new up-and-coming vendors are doing, you know, how many ISVs do we have in the world today? 20,000, I don't know, where is that going to be in 2-3 years' time? 100,000? Remember what these vendors are being schooled in. Don't build software to sell software. Go and work with the digital marketplaces. What Forrester has done here is they're already analyzing what these digital marketplaces are doing for our business and demonstrating where the value is. So go and look at things like the Forrester survey to help you understand what that digital buying journey is going to look like and how you can start to implement that in your organization. So the state of SaaS marketplaces, you know, again, Forrester recognize this is about de-risking, adding more value, improving process and automation, yet still being very partner-centered. and absolutely intrinsically linked. That partner-centered approach with a digital marketplace is the mechanism of transformation. So Ben, I don't know whether you want to come up here and come and have a chat with us as well as we talk about some of the partner pieces, if that's all right. So Ben is, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone, Marketplace Specialist at Softcat. I've been working with Darren. Darren is, I like to call him my corporate father, kind of taught me everything I know from the marketplace sector.
It's in the braces, isn't it?
It's in the braces. I was awarded these about 6 months in, so yeah, nice to see everyone. But yeah.
Do you want to give us a perspective on the Softcat piece, Ben?
Yeah. Sure. So I think there's a core element about Softcat within digital marketplaces. Obviously, we like to think of ourselves as the sort of innovators in the industry. So I'm the only marketplace specialist in the channel in the world at the moment. We've just recruited another one. That is now changing. A lot of our competition are starting to see what we're doing with our customers. I think some of the customers in here I've even worked with. So we're seeing a lot of change, a lot of growth in our customers as well around digital marketplace, what they're able to do, what sort of technologies they're able to procure, how you're procuring them. Really, really great to look at. So things like spot consumption, if you're only using a license for a couple of minutes and you've only got 10 people that need it, why are you buying a yearly renewal for that? Why wouldn't you use some of the benefit of marketplace to consume it when you need it? And the saving for things like that is huge. So and obviously the big channel piece, right? We're looking at hyperscalers. A lot of our customers are asking us, why would we use Softcat? I understand marketplace and understand what Softcat do, but where is the synergy? Why wouldn't I just go direct to Amazon and procure a Trend Micro or a NetApp through the marketplace? And there is that core piece of those alliances, those vendor relationships that Softcat have always held and we traditionally have. We're able to help you leverage. So all of the accreditations that we hold, all of the commercial incentives that we hold, we still retain through marketplace. So it's a really great way to engage with your technology solutions.
Thanks, Ben. And that's really interesting. You make a valid point about consumption. So a lot of what we do in the elastic world of dealing with the hyperscalers like AWS, this is about pence per minute or pence per hour. Actually, a lot of the software vendors are moving to a similar model. So you can still consume pence per minute, pence per hour, but yet with that private offer, managing that and recognizing who you are. And that's partner managed, Ben, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fab. Stay with me and we'll have a bit of a chat. Okay, if that's all right. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So look, let's just go back through these value levers. You can have these slides afterwards, I believe. What we want you to do is feel empowered to go and talk about digital marketplaces within your organizations. Because actually, all the value drivers that sit within a digital marketplace platform are going to be on the agenda of your leadership and your procurement functions. Whatever your opinion is of procurement or of your leadership, we can build a plan. Softcat can help build a plan to work with a digital marketplace, and the marketplace platform being at no cost, of course, to work with that marketplace to deliver some of those executive drivers. And actually, it's about driving out cost. It's about simplification. It's all those good things that we're all trying to do within our organizations. We're trying to take the effort away from us, simplify it and automate it, and offload that to a partner on a marketplace platform. So as a study, we can deliver all of this internally, specific to your organization, and actually put some hard numbers by this. I think that's really valuable. I guess let's have just a brief bit of conversation, if that's all right, Ben. You touched on Softcat a moment ago. Tell me about the Softcat journey, if that's all right, Ben. Tell me about how Softcat has come to be sort of here with AWS Marketplace specifically.
Yeah, of course. I think the core element of how we've got to where we are today is ultimately investment. Softcat have made pretty big investment in marketplace. Obviously, it's not super easy to do. We've got traditional distributors, and the business it's arguably can clash. So it's a real commitment to Softcat that we've had to make and talk to our traditional distributors, see where we can work with them, but grow our marketplace business as well. And I think that's been core to our success. We've got people like myself, Liam, who's just joined the team, and a whole team who are just focused on understanding intricately the elements that will benefit our customers. So, I sit on conversations with customers who are having real challenges in engaging with digital marketplaces. How am I uploading my ULAs? Does Softcat see those terms? Do we want Softcat to see those terms? What happens in the process once we've procured the license? Where is it hosted? Where is it deployed? All this sort of stuff that we're able to really focus in on. And then, when we have those conversations with customers, we can answer those questions. So I say the core answer to the question is, Softcat have invested quite a bit into making sure it works. And
That's great.
Yeah.
So to that end then, and in a nutshell, for customers that haven't done this before, which is obviously if you're in the room, how do they get started? In a couple of sentences, how easy is it? What do you see that journey being?
It is criminally easy.
Criminally easy?
It's criminally easy. I always say to customers, we do a demo, a light demo, and we use a solution from Trend Micro to demo the marketplace. And I always have to warn customers, it's really easy. You probably don't need this. But of course, for a lot of you in here in the room, it's probably new. But the private offer process is 0 day. Arguably, it's 0 day. As long as we've got the quote from the vendor, we've applied our discounts to the solution, we upload a private offer into your portal, to your master payer ID from our master payer ID, unless you're on our billing platform, it's slightly different. You subscribe and upload your EULA. Job done. And as quickly as it's taken me, probably quicker than it's taken me to talk about it, is as quick as you can deploy a license anywhere in the world. And because it's territoryless, for those of you who have organizations or might have acquisitions or be purchased by a parent org which is outside of the UK, we can now make use of that buying power of the actual entire organization. And we're helping customers advise on how we can best do that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. I was going to ask you what that looks like, but I think you've answered that straight away for us. So that's appreciated.
Perfect.
I'm going to throw it open if there's any questions from the audience, just briefly before we run out of time. Does anybody want to ask anything, or anybody want to raise any points that they disagree with what we've spoken about today?
If there's no questions, I've got one. Who finds asset management in the cloud easy? A show of hands, if there's anyone.
That's quite a question.
That's quite a question. Yeah. But that's one of the core areas I think a lot of our customers are struggling with. Yes, we've done this private offer process. We've got, as you say, Darren, what was it, 300 vendors is the average or something that has technology?
I think it was about 600 SaaS applications.
600 SaaS applications. How are we keeping hold of, if we're putting it for a new process, how are we keeping hold of that? And I think, again, another core area that we've been able to help with around digital marketplaces is that asset management. I don't know if you all know, we've got an IT asset management division, we've got a cloud intelligence division, and all of that culminates with really helping customers find out not only what they're buying, but when they're buying as well, which is really, really important. So, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's just have a brief look at this is the Softcat solution portfolio for AWS Marketplace, which will run in the background here sort of while we close. You can get access to this. There'll be a link sent out afterwards, I believe. But it really helps understand the value of the partner with the AWS Marketplace platform and what that looks like. And we'll give you some tools to help you understand some of what we've spoken about today. But I'd really encourage you to come and talk to the Softcat team specifically about AWS Marketplaces and AWS Marketplace and digital buying and how that can help drive out cost and simplify what we do day to day. And with that, if there's no questions, we'll say thanks very much for listening and staying awake. And I didn't mention the word cider once, did I? So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Cheers, folks.